September 13th, 1996. The minute Pat gets shot, and then a week later, Pat dies, all bets are off. That beef is dead. Talk about number three, and number three is a difficult one because so many can get into that list. But I've got to do some honorable mentions for number three because there's just too many people that I've had to. Actually, you know what? I'll do my honorable mentions once I've given you all five of them. I don't think it's fair to give honorable mentions yet. So, oh, that was quick. Another 315 in the bag. Alright, so I'm gonna go now around the corner from the cash house. I'm gonna go and hit up the cash business, see what's going on there. Yeah, so thank you. So number three. It's hard to give number three to one person, and this is why. Because I feel like there were so many great artists who could have got into that number, and because I can only pick one, it makes it difficult. So I have to just turn this down. I have to pick two. And the two I'm giving the two for different reasons. One of the reasons was why I'm giving this artist a number three is because another rapper woke him up, woke up that sleeping giant that was inside. He came out in I think '94 with his debut. The debut album didn't blow the way I think he expected it to blow. Commercially, I mean, in terms of the feedback from the street was bananas. Everyone loved it. Loved the music, but in terms of his commercial success, he didn't really get any commercial success until his second album. And you probably know who I'm talking about now, and that's Nasir Jones, Mr. Nasir Jones, otherwise known as Nas. And the thing about Nas is that, you know, back in the early 2000s, Jay-Z got at him, and he got at him in a way which I feel like woke him up. I feel at the time that he came out, right, there was so much competition. You know, Pac and Big was still alive. You had Wu-Tang, you had you had a number of artists, Red, Meth, as I mentioned before. Goodness, man, so many, Big Pun, Fat Joe, so many. There was obviously Mobb Deep had come out then in '95. They're from the same area, which is the area code will come back to me. They're from the same neighborhood. Who else? There were so many artists that came out, so the competition was fierce, and I feel like those first two albums reflected that, because, as I said, because there was so much talent out at that time, it was really, really difficult to, you know, you couldn't just get away with just doing a one-hit song. You had to be consistent and consistently on it. And I feel like Nas's first two albums, although his debut album, he wasn't consistent with it. The second album, Is someone following me? I think there's someone following me, you know? Deal with them. The second album, he was definitely, where they at? Oh, where they at? The second album, it was written, you know, If I Rule the World with Lauryn Hill, and, die as you ought to! As you deserve to! Yeah, so the second album with Lauryn Hill and If I Rule the World, that for me that song basically blew him up. Period. Blew him up. Great track. So yeah, I think after that album, you know, and Jay-Z made the point of it when he started the whole beef with him and Nas, was that you know, the first album was great, the second album was and the third album, which really nobody, even now, no one really talks about, Nostradamus. The second album was weak, and I'm being polite when I say weak. Yeah, the album was weak. When they talk about his collection of work, no one talks about Nostradamus. Not really. Yeah, it's very, very. So, what Jay was saying at the time, and which, you know, as with every diss track, yeah, the more truthful you are with your disses, the more the better the diss track is. And there was a lot of truth said, especially in regards to the lack of consistency when it comes to Nas's work. I think at the time as well, you know, we're talking late 90s. Biggie and Pac had already passed. At that time, Eminem wasn't out yet. Yeah, Eminem came out, I think, 99, 2000. Quote me if I'm, let me know if I'm wrong. I think it was around that time. So there wasn't, you know, as much as, yes, you know, we still had a lot of great artists there. I think he kind of took a back seat a little bit in his work in the later 90s. Yeah. You know, some, yeah, especially in the later 90s, I'd say. So, you know, and I think for that reason, that's probably the, yeah. So, Jay-Z had a point in what he was saying, but for me, right, Jay-Z at the time, he was positioning himself as king of New York, yeah, in regards to the rap game. Everybody wanted that crown, and to be honest, you know, Biggie took that crown with both hands in 94, 95 when Ready to Die came out. 94, I believe it was, when Ready to Die came out, and there was no one to question who was the king of New York at the moment, because ultimately a whole coastal beef was created because of Biggie and Pac. But once they both passed on, there was a vacuum created, and that vacuum had to be filled, especially in the East Coast, because, to be honest, you know, once Pac had, it's so funny because when I think about it, Snoop was, before Pac had been released out of prison, I believe in late '95. Yeah, before Pac was released from prison, it was you could argue Snoop was the king of the West Coast, because back in the early '90s, it was all about Snoop. You know, it was Snoop and Dr. Dre tag team, basically, and they were killing it. Yeah, but when Pac came on the case, you know, I'll go into him later. But when Pac came out of prison, literally, Pac became the MVP. Yeah, and Snoop had to take a sidestep. Great, 29 million. I've got um, I've got 1 million to go to hit my target. Yeah, Snoop had to take a sidestep. So it was clear that there was a vacuum.
We on?
It was clear that there was a vacuum on the East Coast, especially, and Jay Z was positioning for that. You know, and for me, no disrespect to any Jay Z fans out there, but Jay Z is the worst kind of ninja. Yeah, because Jay Z is the kind of person that will befriend you, like you. Sorry, pretend that you guys are friends, pretend you guys are, and this guy is just playing, using you, and leveraging your celebrity, leveraging your influence and fame for his own benefit. Yeah, because I'm thinking about it. When I think about some of the Nas lyrics on Ether, when he goes, first L was your man, then it was Biggie, and then you're trying to say that you're better than Biggie, right? So there might, and then like another thing which was proper shady that I didn't even to this day doesn't sit well with me, right? Okay, when the East Coast West Coast battle was going on, yeah, everyone was taking sides. Fine, you know. Um, uh, Jay Z at the time was cool with Biggie, and he basically took Biggie's side in it. Cool, right? However, on the September 13th, 1996, the minute Pat gets shot, and then a week later Pat dies, all bets are off. That beef is dead. Yeah. The minute Pat passes away, that beef is dead. It's done. The man cannot respond. He has transitioned on. Yeah. But this ninja, after he passes away, brings out a diss track on Pac. And Pac's already dead. Pac can't respond to that. He's already dead. And that's why, for me, that's a sorry to say that, man. I've got so many words I can use for it, but there may be kids listening and watching, so I don't wanna say what I feel I wanna say, but that's a that's the move of someone who's a uh, idiot. Let me just use that word. Yeah. In London, there's a word called um, chief. Yeah, you say that guy's a chief, meaning that he's a fool. Yeah, or he's an idiot, or he's soft. He's a chief. Yeah, that's a move of a chief, and not chief in the conventional sense. He's a backstab. He's got no morals basically. Because okay, fair enough. Yeah, everyone knew everyone knew Pac was a workaholic, so everyone knew that there'll be music. Even when he died, everyone knows. I wonder what music he is yet to be released yet, because we knew that number of albums, were already in the works, or number of projects were already in the works before he passed away. All right, and lo and behold, there were tracks, you know. Tupac wasn't stupid. He read Jay-Z down to a T and told him about himself. Yeah, right. But Jay-Z comes out with this tune, dissing Tupac, and releases it after he passes away. Nah, man. That is wrong on so many levels. So many levels. Yeah. But I digress. So, ooh, I ain't been this way before. So, what was I saying now? So yeah, so Jay-Z does Nas a big favor though, because Jay-Z wakes him up because I feel like I don't know whether there were a number of things about Nas at that time that was a bit off. I never forget the tune he did with Diddy with Puff called "Hate Me Now." Yeah, and there was a big controversy at the time because there's a part in that video where they're on the cross. Yeah, like Jesus on the cross. Yeah, and I feel like I think at the last minute before that video was released, um, I think Nas was trying to get his part of that his part of that music video removed because he didn't want to make it look like he was being disrespectful to Christians and to you know and to God. Basically, he didn't want to feel like he was being disrespectful. But there was a big hoo-ha. If you want to read about that, you can. But there was a big hoo-ha at the time, and I feel like Nas was just like still kind of figuring out who he was, because there was a part of him that was very kind of socially conscious. Socially conscious at the time. He was very much into, uplifting his people. But there was a part of him that was like, nasty Nas, big pimpin, and then associating with Diddy on that tune made him look like one of them, money, clothes and girls type of rapper. And I feel like he was finding his feet. I really do, because I don't feel like even at that time he kind of knew where he actually was sitting comfortable. Yeah, he's an excellent lyricist, excellent MC. But I feel like in terms of how he was branding himself, I feel like he was still figuring that out and was doing things which were a little bit inconsistent with maybe what people thought he should be doing at the time, or wherever, or the boxes people put him in. But as I said, Jay-Z did him a favor when he came out with that track that literally went in on Nas and went in on him nasty, and it was uncalled for, because it wasn't like Nas provoked it. He never said anything about Jay. I think if you were to talk about it, if you were to talk to him about it now, he would have probably said at the time, I thought we were cool. He would have probably thought, yeah, man, Jay, he's my boy. We're good. And then all of a sudden, he's like, yo, Jay just come out of this tune and he's going on about your girl. He's going on about the fact that he did stuff with your girl. He's going on about the fact that, that you ain't no king of New York, because you're basically, you've only had one good album in a decade. I think he was talking something like that. You only had one great album in a decade, and that woke him up, man. And I feel like for me, without a doubt, we see the best of Nas and Ether. Yeah, yes, he's made some great records. He's made some great records spanning over 3 decades. Yeah, but for me personally, Ether hands down. It's not even an argument. Is his greatest piece of work, because I feel like the only way that you pull that kind of greatness out of you is when there's a situation of friction, when you have to when there are times in your life where it's like you have no choice but to be strong. Yeah, you're in the situations where you have to. There's no option. There's no they'll come like the Rocky film. There's no easy way out. Yeah, like Rocky 4. Yeah, there's no easy way out. You have to fight. And when you have that situation where you have no option but to fight, I think you see the greatest in people, and we definitely saw the greatest in Nas when he had to respond. There was no way that, and I think, in one sense, I think Jay betted that Nas wouldn't even respond. I think Jay must have thought, he ain't gonna say nothing. What's he gonna say? You know, what's he gonna say? He ain't gonna say nothing. Excuse me, I have to take some water. That happens when you talk as much as I'm talking now. But yeah, um, yeah, they're not. He's not gonna. I don't think he expected a response. So when Nas come out of that response, man, you know, forget second round knockout. That was first round knockout. That wasn't even like. That was like 30 seconds into the. You know, you see some boxing matches, yeah, and like 30 seconds into that fight, that guy is just knockout, yeah. He's knockout, you know, especially them fighters who you know don't want to be there and they're just there for to pick up a check, and they just like, okay, just make it as pain-free as possible, and like within seconds, you know, they're on the floor. That's basically what happened to Jay-Z. Within seconds of that, you know, and oh man, again, there's certain lines. I'm sure you all know it, but there's certain lines in that um, where really basically what he's doing is, you know, telling everybody who Jay Z is. Yeah, they're telling him who the he's calling him out on the fraud that he is. Yeah, and while I'll give, you know, and I don't want to turn this into a Jay Z bashing session because I know there's probably a lot of you are fans of Jay Z's work. Yeah, and I'm not saying, not trying to bash him. However, I'm saying that commercially, yeah, Jay Z's up there, man. Jay Z is probably one of the greatest commercial rappers. Definitely, that goes without a doubt. There's, you know, um outside of Dr. Dre, I think he's probably the only official billionaire in hip hop. Yeah, I'm sure there are others who, you know, hide their wealth in different places and don't want to be known in terms of what they have and what they don't have. But to achieve to achieve that, you know, and achieve that from basically hip hop, you know, hip hop being the foundation of it, let's say, because it wasn't all made in hip hop, but hip hop was the foundation of it. You know, that's impressive. However, money in the bank don't make you great. Yeah, I said it. Money in the bank don't make you great. It takes more than that. Yeah, it takes more than that. And I feel like um, people have assumed that, oh, because Jay Z's rich, he must be great. No, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There are many other factors that need to be presented. And for me, the biggest factor of greatness is how you perform under pressure. Nas made. I could just imagine when he was listening to that for the first time. Man must have been stressed. Man must have been stressed listening to that. Proper, yeah. Must have been proper stressed listening to that. And he's like, he's probably having 101 people call his phone. He's probably got like thousands of text messages from people. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nah, nah, don't have it, don't have it. Nah, 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 nah. Don't make him buoy you up like that. Nah, nah, nah. He's under pressure. But the fact is, yeah, there's some tunes, right? You just can't respond to. Yeah? There's some diss tracks that it is not in your interest to respond to. Yeah? Okay, one. And the one that sticks out for me and for most people will be Hit 'Em Up. Yeah, Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. Right. Could Biggie have responded to it? Of course he could. But when you hear a track like Hit 'Em Up, it doesn't matter what you say. It's gonna come across weak. There's some tracks that don't that when you if you were to respond to it, it don't matter what you say. Oh, free trucks? No. They're giving me free vehicles, and they go, oh man. Anyway, as I said, let's make hay while the sun shines. And right now the sun is shining, and I'm literally just 1.1 million away from hitting that 30 million target. So I appreciate you rocking with me. I'll continue. So there's just some tracks that you just can't respond to, man. And it don't matter what you say, yeah, it's just gonna come off weak. Because the thing is that there's one thing talking smack, there's another thing talking smack that is true, but there's another thing talking smack that is true, and that energy that Pac had behind that, yeah, that energy to the point where they're saying at the end of the track, I don't know if you noticed, at the end of that track, yeah, the music video goes black, yeah. I think there was some kind of electrical problems, the mics weren't working correctly, and they were like, wow, it felt like some kind of spirit took hold of Tupac, and I wasn't, this, I'm only going by what I've heard, yeah. Some kind of something took hold of that session because the things weren't working properly, and it all got a little bit scary movie kind of type ish, yeah. It all got kind of scary movie ish, and like they were just like it felt different. It felt different, and even when you're listening to it, man, even now, almost 30 years later, you can't help but for your but for the hairs of your back to rise to peak up at the end of that song, man. Because when I say that guy is so militant with, it wasn't just what he said, man, but you know, Einstein said, energy ain't created or destroyed, but it's just transferred from one person to the other. And when I say that he was able to transfer that energy to anyone that would listen to that, and that energy that he transferred was so potent, yeah, that if the track was, let's say, if the track was an 8 out of 10, I'm not saying that it was, but let's say the track was an 8 out of 10, just based of technique, lyricism, wordplay, whatever. The energy took it up to 10 out of 10. Yeah, it gave it that extra 2 points, just on energy alone, right? Just on energy alone, it gave it that extra 2%. So what I'm saying is that when Nas came out of Ether, the energy that Nas presented on Ether, right? And I can honestly say, I ain't never seen, Nas is usually a cool, chilled, laid back kind of guy, don't want no trouble, ain't looking for no trouble, just wants to, live life and enjoy life and make good music and do some legendary stuff. I ain't never seen Nas angry I never heard Nas angry like that. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, where the first lines of that song is, you know what it is. I ain't gonna say it on here because there may be kids listening. Yeah, but that first line is just like absolute. There's no equivocation on how he feels about Jay-Z from that first line. There's no sublims. There was a lot of especially Jay-Z. He's known as the sublime king. Yeah, man will talk around the houses when he's dissing somebody. You don't talk direct. He will sublime it until the cows come home. But there was no subliming from Nas. No subliming whatsoever. He was direct, and he went places where people didn't even know. And I'm sure that he's got receipts, coming to look for him and asking for help when he was in trouble. The Hawaiian shirts, I know that's a thing because I seen pictures back in the day of Jay-Z with them Hawaiian shirts, so I know he's talking facts. Yeah. No, even the even the reference to his big lips, man, and the fact that everybody knows. Even Chris Rock, even Chris Rock made a joke out of it, not out of that particular situation, but he was talking about Beyonce and Jay Z, and be like, you know, Beyonce is the kind of beautiful that even if she works at Mickey D's, she'll still be fine. But Jay Z working at Mickey D's, not so much. So basically, that kind of tells you where it's at. So everyone knows that. I mean, to be fair, people could argue, people could say the same about Biggie. Biggie weren't no, but the thing was with Biggie, he admitted it, he knew it. He was like, you know, um, big fat, ugly as ever. However, I'll wear coochie down to the socks. Yeah, Biggie was a charming, um, a charming guy. Yeah, the guy was, you have to think about the fact that he was about to marry, Faith Evans. Yeah, and Faith Evans ain't no scrub. Yeah, so you have to know that as aesthetically, even though he's aesthetic, he wasn't looking like Will Smith or Albie Shaw. He wasn't one of them light skinned, especially during that kind of era. Um, you know, colorism was a big thing back then. You know, right? So he didn't have all of that, but he was witty and he knew how to lyrics. He knew how to to charm someone, and that was his superpower. But with I'm not saying Jay Z. I ain't saying Jay Z ain't no charming individual. He probably is charming. Well, he had to be to get Beyonce, I would say. But everybody knows, yeah. If a broke Jay Z ain't getting no Beyonce, yeah. A broke Jay Z um um ain't getting girls. Period. Yeah. And Nas made reference to that. You think they love you just because of your looks? So yeah, man. So for me, in that sense, for me, that's why Nas gets the number three nod. I don't think he. I think he had the potential to. He definitely had the potential to do more, and I feel like between the changes in the music industry with you know music going digital and the repercussions of music going digital, and the fact that they weren't artists weren't making as much money in music as they were before. Um, but in saying that, and to his credit, and I would say to his total credit, he's probably the only one from that era that is actually making new music today. And I have to respect him for that because he doesn't have to do it. You know, he can just literally sit on his royalties and on performance revenue, and I think he's making music as an independent. He's not with any label. Yeah, I think he created his own label called Mass Appeal. As far as as far as I remember, yeah, Mass Appeal, that's it. And yeah, he's the only one. And to be honest with you, you know, I can't even say he's the only one. He's the only legend because there were many artists that were hot in the 90s. Yeah, but I think even in the 90s, I would still have him as. And please let me know your thoughts. I will still have him as number three. You know, I think you guys know who my one and two is, or you probably have a clue of what they are. But after those two guys, he'd still. Oh, sorry about that, mate. Do you need a hand? Can I help you up? Sorry about that, mate. See you walking with that gangster lean. Sorry about that. My bad. Yeah, so yeah,
Need
after
something, huh? One of your rides?
Yeah, he's still making music today, which I have to give him credit for, and it's good music as well. It's not just like, you know, he's probably the only shining light, and I'll say this, uh, in a world of mumble rap darkness. Yeah, I said it. He's probably the only shining light in a world of mumble rap and lyrics that don't make sense. Uh, Reality that we're living in today. Yeah, so for me, Nas is number three. However, that number three has to be shared because um I can't put the next individual higher than number three. However, I can't leave him out altogether. Um it would be remiss of me to do that. It would be unfair for me to leave him out. You know, and I'm talking about you'll know who I'm talking about in a minute. I'm talking about an individual who came on the scene and looked different from everybody else in that industry. You know, it's like watching a Rocky movie, right? And you're thinking, what is this white dude doing here in a industry dominated by black men? Yeah, and this individual was the Rocky of his of his of his era. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, he came in and everybody was just like clowning him because as far as they're concerned, you know, there were two things that people felt at the time that were hold true. One is white men can't jump. You know, they even made a movie about it. And two is white men can't rap. Yeah, and the only example that we had of that was Vanilla Ice. And all intents and purposes, Vanilla the Ice Baby track is a cool track. I still like it. I don't, you know, I know a lot of people hate on it for different reasons. You know, some people with agendas. Yeah, but for me, um, it's not 100. It's not entirely different from MC Hammer's "Can't Touch It." If Vanilla Ice had performed MC Hammer's tune, yeah, right, and MC Hammer had performed Ice Baby, I don't know whether Can't Touch This would get the love that it gets today, and I don't know whether Ice Baby uh, would have some people, not everybody, but a group of some people kind of clown it a little bit because it was kind of the first or one of the first commercial hip hop, fully commercial hip hop tracks, and it was aesthetically pleasing because it was the first white guy that really did a big hip hop track that did, you know, significant numbers. But in terms of their genre of hip hop, MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice are very similar, in my opinion, anyway. So, as I was saying, you got you got this Rocky Balboa character coming into a black dominated industry and basically taking it over. And you know who I'm talking about now, yes, Eminem. Yeah, have to mention him because I feel like even up to this day there are artists, and I'm saying big artists, who would refuse to battle with Eminem or now. And for me, his brilliance is his wordplay and his ability to his ability to how can I best put it, dress you down and make you feel naked and ashamed by just words off the top of his head. Yeah, I said it. This guy has the ability to make you feel naked and ashamed. Yeah, this guy will read you and tell you about yourself and do it in a way that's hilarious, but also it's weird. Can you imagine someone getting a spanking and finding it funny? They're getting spanked and they're laughing and crying at the same time. That's what Eminem has the ability to do, make you laugh and cry at the same time. If he's gunning for you, yeah. And that's why a lot of people know don't play with the white boy, don't play with him because this guy will rock you till tomorrow, yeah. And I can't say it's funny. I put it as number three, but I can't say I'm a big fan. But I respect him a lot, and I respect him a lot because again, he's not just he's not just a great MC. He's not just a great lyricist, but in the context of him being white and being able to receive that prestigious black card from his peers, yeah, and to get the love and adoration from his peers in a black dominated industry. And that's like, how can I best put it? Let me give you an example. Um, Let me give you an example. Yeah, that's what I'll say is that's unique. That's unique because it's very it's very rare where you get people who not just you get people who from the jump, the minute they look at you, they're already judging you. They're already saying, "Nah, this guy's whack." They ain't even, it's like if you think about the movie 8 Mile, it's no different. That was just basically a biography of his life, really. Because when you look at it, people looked at him and was like, you know, booing him before they even took a minute to hear what he had to say. Yeah. So for that reason and the fact that not to say that hip hop wasn't already there were many I'll go as far back as NWA and maybe even further where there was definitely what's the word I would say a significant crossover where you'd have the white suburban kids listening to hip hop music. Back then when it was like, late 80s NWA, it was, they were doing it in secret. Yeah. They had their headphones on. Remember those foam, and back in the day, old foam headphones. They had their headphones on, listening to that. Oops. I think I just missed one there. Yeah, they had their foam headphones listening to that, but they weren't really shouting about it. They would shout about In Sync. They would shout about New Kids on the Block, but they weren't shouting about rap music. Not a lot anyway. But what Eminem did was just kind of solidify hip hop music, and solidify it with basically having a white guy was he from Detroit? Where's Eminem from? Yeah, the movie says that he's from 8 Mile, Detroit, but I don't know if he's really from Detroit. But anyway, you got this white guy who's come on the scene, and literally, I'll say between 2000 and 2000 and maybe 5, 8. He basically, don't crash. Woo! Between 2000 and 2005, he basically owned hip hop. He owned it. What I'd have loved to have seen, oh man, that would have been a beautiful thing. Eminem and Tupac do a track together. That would be lovely. That would have been lovely. You know, that would have been lovely. But I'm not coming out the car. This is not the postal van. This is the garbage truck. Don't need to come out of the vehicle. Yeah, that would have been. Can I actually make this drop? I don't think I did. Yeah, nah. Yeah, that would have been beautiful. That would have been beautiful. So he has to go number three, and because of the fact that um, he crossed barriers, or sorry, broke barriers that were once, um, that now the next white rapper that comes along. I mean, there would be no Machine Gun Kelly without Eminem. Facts, yeah, and every other white rapper that comes along after Eminem is Eminem broke those barriers, and Eminem basically made hip hop um, the multicultural genre of music it is today. No one can talk about hip hop. Oh, it's just quote unquote black music per se. It is because it was, you know, because that's the origins, but it's evolved, and it's okay for, it's okay to evolve. It's okay to evolve. Listen, guys, I've just realised I'm always up to an hour. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hit up the next episode, part three, where I'm gonna cover my top two. Yeah, appreciate you rocking with me. Give that subscribe button an uppercut. Give the like button a slap, and appreciate you guys, man. And see you on the next one. Love ya. Peace.